So before we really dive in, I do want to let everybody know that today has been a very interesting day in technology. You all have probably experienced it a little bit. AWS, which is a massive, you know, tool for many softwares, is having some problems. Thankfully, that's not going to affect us in MyEdWest at all. Um, what it might affect is the training link that I'm about to give you. So I'm going to put in the chat the link to the training Confluence page. So I'm going to drop this in the chat. This will be provided afterwards too. This is located on our Confluence page. If you have problems accessing Confluence, it is not a big deal. Everything that we're about to talk into, everything that's in that Confluence page, I'm going to cover. We're going to record. It's all going to be fine. It's just been a rough day for anybody who works with AWS because that whole system has been having problems. You've probably have also noticed if you use anything like Slack, Venmo, Hulu, all of those systems are suffering today. But MyEdWest is not. So we are going to dive into the new process for temporary campgrounds. So I'm going to turn off my camera and I'm going to walk you through the new process. Okay, cool. So let me make slight adjustments real quick for my sizing. Cool. So I have logged in to the configuration environment. This is not a real environment. We use fake environments for training. This is a rough clone of production, but the process that I'm going to show you today is what is in production right now. As of October 1st, this is the new process. I have logged in as a local health department user, but this isn't actually what you're seeing on the screen. This is the training environment. So please note, a lot of the stuff that you're seeing in here, I've made for this training. So how do I know when it's time to engage with a temporary campground license application? I'm on my dashboard and everything looks pretty standard. With the last release, we created those additional tabs. So if you only wanted to look at campground information, on-site wastewater management, septage waste, swimming pools, they all have their own tabs. In the last training, I said, hey, here's temporary campgrounds. Don't worry about it. Well, we're not going to worry about it, but it's time to start using it. So one of the ways to go about is selecting your temporary campgrounds tab. I'm going to do that in a second, but I do want to show you your notifications. When I click on my username up here, I get notifications. And I have in here that I have some assignments. This is a Spring Sprint 2026 has been assigned, and the status is inspection requested. So I can see that here. I can see that I've got Monster Mash Bash also in inspection requested. So these are two activities that I know are ready to be engaged with by the local health department. Now, what I will say is it's probably best to set your notifications where you're also getting emails. You can do that by coming to your profile and your preferences. So, and then coming to edit, and then you can select your notification type. If you're not logging into MyEdWest at least once a week, please make sure you're doing MyEdWest and emails. I have talked to several areas where people only have the notifications coming through MyEdWest, which you can totally do, but I would only recommend doing if you're logging into MyEdWest very regularly, like daily. If you do MyEdWest and email, you will be getting an email when something gets assigned to you. There's MyEdWest notifications and text messages. If that's what you would like, you can have that, but there's also MyEdWest text message and email. You can be notified on all fronts. I just recommend leaving it at MyEdWest and email, especially if you're not in MyEdWest very frequently. So just know that you can set your preferences. Those preferences, that won't change the notification here. The notification will always come through MyEdWest, but that will change if that notification is getting emailed to you, which can be nice. Otherwise, I can come to my temporary campgrounds dashboard. So now I'm only going to see things here that are related to temporary campgrounds. So I've come and I've created some dummy information. So that's the stuff that you're going to see here. But with the new dashboards, just like using campgrounds or septage or swimming pools, those new dashboards only show information related to that area. So now I'm only seeing temporary campground licenses. I am only seeing entities that were temporary campgrounds. So I can see the tasks, open tasks. These are only temporary campground related tasks. So that's a good way to kind of know what is coming if you have something that you need to engage with. If you have something you need to engage with, you will get the notification or it will show up on your dashboard. This is really important to know because there are some differences with the temporary campgrounds inspections compared to a standard campground inspection. One of the main differences that you will see is that when you're looking here, I can see inspection requested, but there will be times that I could look here and I could see a activity that says activity status fill out form or activity status waiting for payment. Those are important to know about because when those statuses are listed in your open inspection activity, those are actually still being completed by the event organizer. So it's kind of cool because you can technically see the whole process for them going through their application. So first I want to jump in and show you the process. I do see a hand up. We're holding verbal questions to the end, or you could put it in the chat. So please note, if you've got a question, please write it out. Keisha and her team is here to help. So first we're going to talk about locating our campground, our temporary campground application. I can either find it through my notifications or my open inspection activities. So now when I get this campground, it already should have the application done. Documents should be attached. I am coming in to look at my application. As I said, this is definitely different than how you do a standard campground inspection. Every time you look at these pages, the page is kind of split, and you'll see your guidance for local health departments at the bottom. So your job is going to be to scroll to the bottom of the task list and review the form. You're going to want to review site plans and documentation and customer attachment. You're going to complete an on-site inspection. And this is probably the thing that is the most different, is that once that on-site inspection is completed, you come back to MyEdWest, say if you're approving it or not, and that then generates the license. So that's where you're going to see a little bit of a change. So first things first, I need to come and review my form. Now this form has been completed by the external user. So the person who is requesting and organizing this has already filled all of this out. You shouldn't have to touch any of this. I can come in, you can see which health department's going to be completing it, who the organizer is, what the event name is. They are given the option of putting in a description. And then you can see there's the event start date and the event end date. I would just double check and confirm those dates. MyEdWest is, when you put the start date in, you start in like the month that you're in, and then you have to click forward for the end date. So it could be really easy for an external user to accidentally put the wrong month in here. So just double check that their dates are correct. And then there is some information here about dates, what the maximum operating time is, what the extension is, what the allowed extension is, how many days have to be between events at the same location, and how many days the form has to be submitted in advance. Then everything else has already been provided. So the number of campsites. The event organizer already completed this information, provided you with how many sites. They've already notified the local municipality. I would not change their number of campsites. The reason for that is they've already paid their state license fee. So this campground has 200 sites. They have already paid their required fee to the state. They have not made their payment to the local health department. So if there is an inspection fee, anything that they are required to pay towards the local health department, that's still going to have to happen with the local health department. But their site for the state's already been paid for. So if they want to add 301 more sites, that changes what their license fee is. So please don't adjust the number of campsites. That will affect what their licensing fee is. And they've already paid. So they've already paid the state. They have not paid the local health department yet. Then I can come through and they've already said, hey, I'm getting my water from here. If they were getting their water from a water hauler, there would be the water hauler listed here. If they have a septage contract, you can see right here, they have listed who they are contracting their septage hauling through. They have to provide the number of garbage cans that are going to be available to their attendees, information about the facilities. We have also provided them links to the campground rules. So if they need to know things about how many, privies they need for a temporary campground, we have provided that information to them while they complete this form. Now, they're also told while they complete this form what they are required to submit. So by the time this form comes to you, they should have completed all of those things. So now there's a space down here for you to leave additional comments if you would like. These will show up on the license. So, I'm going to just make a note, site numbers and timing work with location. And then I'm going to select that complete button. So now that I've looked through the application and I know the application is good, I got to check that supporting documentation. So I'm going to come down here to customer attachments and I am going to download. And now I can open and look at their map. I can see if they've got any invoices, if they've got their contracts listed, what those contracts are. I can see all of that here. Now, let's say there was something wrong or I was, I'm missing something, a document is missing. You're going to want to select more information needed. Now, at this point, you want to reach directly to the organizer and communicate with them what is missing. Specifically because I know that some of these have a pretty tight turnaround. I know 14 days is the minimum number of days to submit this in advance. But, if somebody's submitting it 15 days in advance and you're looking at this now and you see something is missing, I would, it's recommended, it's encouraged to reach out directly to the organizer for any information. You can ask them to come back into My EdWest to attach documents. They can still come in and do that. Or if they want to send it to you and you want to attach the document, you can. Or if you're going to hear it from them verbally and you trust them on that, they've answered your questions, cool. You can select information provided. So now the status is going to change back to inspection requested. I have already reviewed my forms. I've already looked at everything that is attached, and it's time to go in and do the inspection. So I'm going to go and physically do the inspection. When I'm done with the inspection, I come back to My EdWest and select inspection completed. And so this is probably one of the most important things to know is that once you have said the inspection is done, the license is not generated until this license determination form is done. So I'm going to come in here and say, cool, I did my inspection, everything looks good, the temporary license is approved. And then I can provide comment if I would like. I'm going to put my name and the date of the inspection. Now I know that this inspection, this event technically isn't until the spring. I know that this is a very truncated timeline for this kind of demo, but once I've done that, I can select complete, and the license form is going to generate inside my EdWes. On the information that we're providing the external users, we're providing the event organizers, we're telling them that they need to come into my EdWes to print the license. The license is their responsibility. I want to show you guys where the license is because that will probably be something that you get asked. I'm going to scroll down to Eagle Attachments. Type temporary campground license. I can now preview this. I have this. This is the exact same process that the external user will find it. They'll come to Eagle Attachments. They will be able to see the document. I could print it here. So just know that this is exactly the same place for both you and the event organizer. And I would say it's going to be probably a decision on your office, on your team, if you want to print these for the external user. But we are telling them in their materials that they should be prepared to print. So that is how that whole quick license process has happened. If I wanted to, I could see their invoice for the number of campgrounds they had. I can see the forms that have been attached, the inspection form's final summary. So this was saying that this was approved. The other important thing to note is if you get an event date, an event extension request, it has to be communicated to you from the event organizer in advance. You all know this. They cannot come into my EdWes and ask for an event extension. The only person who can come in and provide that event extension on that license is a local health department user. So if someone says, I want to extend my event, as long as they are submitting their extensions prior to the 3 days before event ends, and they're still meeting the requirements for that extension, you can come in and do an extend event date. Now, I know there are rules about where and when extensions can be, so I'm going to come and update my form. So applicants may request one extension up to 14 days. So I have to make sure that the extension that they're requesting is reasonable, and a minimum of 30 days is required between the license, location / venue. So if they want to extend this by 4 days, we have to make sure that in that 30 days, there's not another event. So I'm going to come and select where they're extending the date. So this is ending on the 14th. They would like to end on the 17th, and I'm going to give that approval. If I can spell my last name, and complete. Now that license has been updated. Once again, they're responsible for getting that new license. So I'm going to come down here. There's not a new file, but I'm going to go back to the old temporary campground license. I'm going to preview it, and here you can actually see the extended date has been added to the license. So it updated their old license with the correct extension date. Now, when the event ends, this will automatically close out. It will disappear from your dashboard. It will still be in your activity history, but it will not be in your open activities. What is it like to deny an event? Well, I'm going to come down to open activities. I created this other event, and I'm going to come and I'm going to review the form. Now, once again, I'm just going to come through, walk for my information. I look at the dates. Well, these dates are like in 4 days. This is not meeting that requirement. So I can actually come and say, this is not enough time. Application 14 days in advance is required. Complete. Now, I see in the chat, if you would like to upload any notes or supplemental activities, you can do that. So let's say that I went and I was like, cool, I I want to upload an additional document. I can come to upload attachments. I still want to be in customer attachments, and I can add a file or anything that I need to add. I want to make sure that I'm putting what type of file it is. So if this is a supporting document, which is chances are that's what you would want to qualify it as, and save. So now I know that this information date's wrong, right? So let's say I'm going to go more information needed because maybe they put the information in there wrong. Maybe they have the wrong date. Maybe they were applying for a year in advance and they just didn't check their dates. Okay. Well, I talk to them and they say, no, it's for this weekend. And I'm like, okay. I am going to cancel the event. I can select that right here and cancel the event. If I got through the inspection process, so let's say I did the inspection and it's not good, I can start my license determination form. I can say that this is not approved, missing key things like bathrooms. I know you all are way more professional than that. And I'm going to put my name and the date for the inspection. When I select complete, this is going to actually close that because this is not going to work. It's closed. It's going to fall off your dashboard when you come and look because they didn't have the requirements met. So it's not listed here. It's not listed as approved. If I come over to temporary campgrounds and I come down and I look at my entities, Monster Mash Bash is expired. You can see that it's right here. You can see that activity was closed. Keisha, have I missed anything?
Hold on just a second. I'm reading Ian's question. He just popped in there.
Not a problem. Now, I know that this is a new process. I did point this out before with the last temporary campground training, but I know that this is the last local health department training. I know this is a different process, and we are receptive to feedback. If we can make improvements on these processes, we want to know about it. One of the important things to know is we want to run with this process for about a year before we make any changes to it, just to see how it is working. But we're potentially going to do a survey assessment on how this process is working for you all. Let's say you really want to suggest a change. It's not hard to do. You can select the help button in the left-hand side. And it's going to take you to Confluence, but Confluence is a page that is an AWS page. So we're going to hope that it works. And I don't envy the people at Amazon today. Other route you could potentially come to is the help desk at the bottom. Technically, from the Confluence page, you can submit a help ticket. I might not even be able to pull the help desk ticket because it's an Atlassian product. Your service management, cool. So I'm my EdWest support, and I either want to report an issue or suggest an improvement. So let's say I want to suggest an improvement for a new feature or how this process could be improved. I can fill out this window right here. If I had screenshots, I could attach screenshots or files. It is important for us to know how this software and this process works for you because we are wanting to make sure that this makes sense, that it's clear if there's more training needed. I do have that document that I sent in the chat at the very beginning, which is kind of a walkthrough of everything I covered here. External users will be doing an asynchronous course, so which I'll be providing with you to you soon. So that way, if somebody is saying, "Hey, how do I do this new process?" you can give them a link. It's also an Atlassian product right now, which is down by AWS. But they will have literally a virtual class that they can watch on their computer. It will take probably in total 30 to 45 minutes for them to complete. Probably not even that much time. But that way you don't have to do the work of trying to teach them how to do this process. They already have an online course that they can watch. We have also put, I've published those knowledge-based articles in Confluence, which still not loading. But there are articles out there for the external user, which we will be providing to you probably when this video comes to you. Simply a day for technology being down with AWS being down. So any other? Yeah, go ahead, Keisha.
One thing I was going to add is that we are open to doing additional training, both for the local health departments and external users. We know this is a different process from the way it's been done for a very long time. So we're not gonna leave you out there without assistance. We've got your backs. And if you want to schedule a full walkthrough training with me, we can absolutely do that, where I show you what happens from the event organizer end through the whole process of your end. We can do that. Absolutely.
And also with that course, if you want to walk through the course, you can do that also. Downside is I can't give you the link right now. But we can provide that to you. So if you want to see everything that they have to do, they have to go through the information they have to provide, we will give that to you. Keisha's 100% right. This is a very new process, and we don't want you to feel alone. Any questions?
Go ahead, Kristen.
Hi there. So, will the applicant get any sort of notification that even though they've paid the state and sent an application in, that they still need to check with the local health department for payment? Is there like a pop-up that says thanks, but you still may need to check your local health department for additional fees or anything like that?
They are being told that in their training materials that they need to be confirming with their local health department that there are what those fees are, because we're trying to be as explicit as possible that this is the state payment only. So
Okay.
that is in their training materials and that is in their videos. And
Are you on this temporary campground thing? Or is it just for us beginners?
No, I should be on it. I was doing permits.
Okay. Someone is unmuted. Thank you. Cool. But someone else is unmuted out there. Sorry about that. But yeah, we are trying to drill into them that this is not that paying through my Edwis is not the only payment.
Okay.
Because
So it's in their training, but does it occur during their application process?
Trying to think.
It is specified on the application form.
Okay.
So where the fees are laid out, they have the state fees, and then it specifies on that form to reach out directly to the local health department regarding any inspection fees.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, looks like HCHD was next. So Huron County Health Department, I believe that is.
Yes, can you hear me?
We can.
Yeah.
So kind of piggybacking on Kristen's question. I think it needs to be somehow put in there that the local fee needs to be paid before we go out. I know at least our county and counties I've worked for in the past, we're not sending an inspector all the way out to a temp campground to do the inspection without the fee paid. Because we can't show up and take money in the field nowadays, or we don't have, the Square D or whatever card readers. So I don't know, you're saying that they're told in there, but I think, and I hope that it's very clear that they need to contact us even after they submit this to you.
One thing that we can do is we can go in and look at the language that we've posted and see if there's anywhere else that we can drive that in, especially because they have to confirm that they've made their payment to the state. But we can always put on that page, more like you still need to reach out to your local health department. We can go in and add more language. And so that's something that we can do, especially if you're still having problems after we add more language into the physical MyEdWest process. Let us know, because we'll do what we can to make that more apparent. But so I don't know. I know that your area asks payment pre-inspection. Is that how most local health departments work, is that you expect your payment beforehand? If so, could I get a thumbs up?
Looks like you're getting them.
Yep.
Thank you.
Cool.
Perhaps that verbiage could list something indirectly that would also support saying, if that is not done by paying your local fee, there's potential that obviously you would be denied. It's going to open their eyes to what the consequences would be for that.
Yeah. Excellent.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. This is feedback that's really valuable to us. The physical process of the application, it's kind of hard to explain. The physical process, which is called a workflow, is how the system works, but we can change the language in the system without changing how the system works, if that makes sense. So like we can add more language. Task. Sorry, I'm just taking notes on this. Okay. I think Ian, your hand is up.
Yep, I was just wondering about the notifications. You mentioned how we can go in our profile and set that up.
Yeah.
I was just wondering, this might be kind of general MyEdWest question, but I was just wondering how does it differentiate and let us know, give us that notification about the temporary campground application versus any other notifications that have come through. I know I've gotten notifications from Eagle staff when they're responding to things.
Yep.
I guess, is there a way to set it up to where I'm just getting temp campground application submissions?
There is not yet, but that's a great idea. Let me write that down and ask for an enhancement on that. So that's really a good idea, actually.
So if you set up the notifications in there, then like even like our clerks are going to be getting all the notifications related to everything in MyEdWest. Is that really how it's set up?
I believe anybody on your local health department who's in MyEdWest will be getting that notification.
Okay.
That is correct. Yes. Anyone that is a user in MyEdWest for a local health department will get the notifications for temporary campgrounds. Everyone will.
Okay. You seem to think that there is a way to set it up where it could just be the temp campground applications could be, you can sign up for those notifications. Is that accurate?
Well, okay. I think it will be possible in the future.
Okay.
One of the things that has to happen is when a new idea like this comes along, we have to submit a ticket to the software developer, they then have to figure out how to put that into their development timeline. So and I have to be honest, it's never a fast process. You guys saw how long it took us to get you guys individual dashboards. So it's never a super fast process, but that doesn't mean that's not something that we can possibly bring into a future release to help make this process better. I do know that there is a lot of conversation about how to improve MyEdWest for local health department users. It is a big topic of conversation. So I don't want you to think that that's not heard, because it is. The downside is I can't promise how quickly anything comes out. But thank you. That is a great feedback. I think that could really be helpful for local health department users, so you're not being bombarded by a plethora of notifications.
Yeah, well, I just got to tell you, that was my biggest concern with this process was what's that notification going to look like for the local health department? Somebody goes on there and thinks they do a bunch of work filling out all these forms. They feel like they're probably good to go. And, I know there's that one line on there about getting a hold of the local health department, but man, if we could get a notification, right, then we could know to reach out to them even, right, and try to, hey, we know you just applied, and try to avoid a situation, I guess. But all right, thanks for your response.
Yeah. One thing that I will tell you that we tried to do this time around with this workflow is to cut down on the number of notifications that you would be getting that weren't needed. So you're not going to get notifications when the external user is filling out their form. You're not going to get notifications when they're making their payments, but you will get a notification when they flip it over for you to do the inspection. But I definitely understand that concern, especially if you're getting inundated with a lot of questions. I mean, notifications. Cindy, you have your hand up. Okay. Well,
not intentionally.
Oh, not a problem. I get it. The hand and the thumbs up are like right next to each other. Happens all the time. Don't worry about it. I'm going to jump over and see some of the chat questions that have been answered. Okay, beautiful. So, sorry, I'm scrolling up. The temporary campground license. Okay, so the question is, if the temporary campground inspection process is all electronic, what does the applicant have to prove to any other entity that they were inspected by LPH? And so Keisha put, the temporary campground license reflects the inspector's name and the date of inspection. This is where it's going to be very important that they have printed out their license. If, let's say, a municipal employee or a police officer is like, hey, do you have a permit? Do you have a license? That is going to be listed in here. This has the Eagle information on it. This has the county information on it. This has the local health inspector's name. All of that is going to be listed on this. So that is still where they can have that information. What do we want to do if they want to add more campsites? Is there a way for them to pay the difference? If they want to add more sites, they would need to submit a new application and or withdraw the existing application. I want to say that if they've already paid their fee to the state, and maybe Lisa, if you're on, you could help me with this. If they've already made a payment to the state for their state license and they need to add more sites, that adds to their fee to the state. If they canceled that or withdrew their application and they didn't go through inspection, what would be the process? Would they get refunded? My assumption is they would, and then they'd have to do the application again.
So because it's such a short timeline, yes, I'm guessing they have to do a new application. Keisha might know better. Because I think that's what was decided and withdraw the old one. So that would make them force them to pay the new fee, whether that's high or lower, depending on what they're changing. And we would refund the old initial fee.
Excellent. Cool. Excellent. Thank you. Let's
Unless
see.
I'm wrong, Keisha. I think that's
Nope,
what was
that's-
talked about.
That was the plan, yes. Yep.
Also, sorry, Lisa, for just calling you out on the
Okay.
spot like that. I appreciate you showing up and answering, though. Well, we still have the option to complete the inspection form on a paper and upload it into my EdWith. Not for temporary campgrounds. This one's all electronic. While you have for normal campgrounds, you could do the 2 routes, either in my EdWest or not. For temporary campgrounds, it's all my EdWest. What if we deny the license? What if they have a way to pull up and print the license? What if we deny it? There is no form to tell them that they need to cease and desist unless we use local enforcement processes. Now, my assumption is that this is going to be for an extension. That's my assumption, because I would assume that if they've been denied, they wouldn't continue. Well, I'll admit. I don't know. People are pretty wild nowadays, though. Would it be beneficial to have a form generated that is a denied license? Because I'm pretty sure. Let me come back to my activity history and just confirm that that does not happen. Oh, please move faster than this. Well, that thinks. Okay, so I want to look specifically for temporary campground licenses. And
It was 1008.
1008. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I am not given a license, even a denial license. If that's something that people would feel would be really beneficial, we could ask to have that added so that they're getting a form as an Eagle attachment that says this event is denied. Okay, this is another question about the checkbox. People are used to just paying once, and they will need to make it very clear. Yep, we're going to talk to our configuration team about potentially generating a deny form and about doing a checkbox, because I definitely know that concern about splitting the fee. What if the original application was 15 days, more than 15 days out, but it was changed less than 15 days? Keisha, I think I'm going to need your help on this one. So an application was submitted and approved and something changed within 15 days of the event is what I assume the question is.
So they submitted changes less than 14 days out. So in regard to those changes, Jeff, are you referring to sites, a change in sites?
Among other things, yes. So would that then be denied? Would the changes be denied then because they were less than 15 days?
That one I'm actually going to ask Jeremy. Do you have a preference on how we would do that if they are doing changes in the example of they need more sites than what they originally applied for?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's probably going to be pretty case by case and up to your discretion. I kind of consider it like a normal, back and forth part of your review as you get these temporary campground applications in, and you're connecting with them on their local payment and kind of reviewing through their contracts, making sure things make sense, look appropriate. If they've got some subtle changes, that we've got enough time to get the fees corrected and those type of things, we can continue on with the review and kind of work on the paperwork in parallel. If it's a bigger issue, you know, I guess reach out and we can kind of figure out what makes sense as far as moving forward. It's going to be kind of a moving target, I think, here for some of these events. Just trying to get the education out to folks and trying to get them to get their accounts and get their applications in good timing, and you know, working with all of you at local health to better understand what workflow adjustments we might need, those type of things. But yeah, in that case where it's you know, you got an application and got a start on your review, maybe we just consider that kind of the normal review process and can kind of work through the updates and changes as needed there.
Thank you, Jeremy. We've got time for one last question. Kristen has a question here is, am I understanding that the inspector needs to go back to the office to complete the inspection? This is additional steps, cost to LHD. It means that the operator will not have inspection results immediately. I'm going to say that this is going to depend probably based on how your office functions. One, if you have an iPad, if you have a work issued iPad, which I know not everybody has, or a work issued phone, you can log into My EdWest anywhere that there's the internet and say, hey, the inspection is done and I am approving this. And then that could be done right away. The operator is still responsible for printing that license. If you do not have that kind of technology, this would be something to discuss with your team. I don't know how all of those different offices function because there are so many offices that do so much work and they all do it a little differently. But with consent, why wouldn't you be able to call an admin or someone else who has access to the site and you say, I literally just finished the inspection. It's good to go. Can you log into My EdWest and put my name as the inspection and give the date? I approve this. That I think has to be something that's decided by office and office. But yes, in theory, you do need to, not in theory, in practice, you need to say that the inspection's been done in My EdWest and issue the license in the system. How you do that, if that involves coming back to the office, if that involves, you know, giving consent to an admin staff to be able to do that, that's going to have to be an in-office decision. Okay, we have 1 minute. Let's see. Will any application be accepted less than 14 days of the start date? Yes, Eagle is aware that many temporary campground applications do not get submitted prior to the regulatory 14-day deadline. We're trying to educate planners on that, but the LHDs still have the ability to proceed with their review and approval of those applications. So we don't actually go into My EdWest and close out stuff that are related to temporary campgrounds. If an application comes in within 14 days, that's really your discretion as an office and a team if you want to allow that. You know, we have these rules for a reason. And I guess that would be your call because you can still do that. We do want to make sure people are aware of those deadlines. But yes, it looks like that's going to be your discretion. How quickly can Eagle guarantee refund and repayment of changed applications? That one I cannot answer. I don't know if anybody else has an answer.
I don't know because we've never done this before like this. In a typical, like, they would have to reach out to us and tell us that they're doing a new application and they close their other application unless Keisha or her team's going to be watching, and it's a process. they're probably going to have to pay for their new license before they get the refund if they're sending it, like applying close to the 14 days.
Yeah, and these are all going to be paid via credit card, correct? So the
Yes.
credit card refunds are typically pretty quick, you know, a number of what, days to week or two.
Yeah. I'm just saying they're probably not going to be able to wait for their refund to reapply with
Correct.
the timeline.
It should show up on the same billing cycle was
Yeah,
the reason I was
perfect.
bringing up that there'll be credit card payments. So, yeah.
Okay, we are slightly over time. You are going to get this recording. That link that was at the very beginning of the chat, we will be re-providing, and I'll make sure that you all get the link for the course that external users are going to go through. And we're going to put in a configuration ticket for a denied license or a denied application, and to see about creating better language and a checkbox for making sure that LHD inspections are done that LHD inspection fees are paid before the inspection. Okay. Let's see. Is there a way to deny the application through Eagle if applicant doesn't meet the 14-day deadline and cannot proceed with payment? The workflow is not set up like that for now, but that doesn't mean we cannot ask. And I can get back to you on that. Either Keisha or I can get back to you on that. Sorry for throwing you in there, Keisha. Okay. We are over time. I appreciate everybody being here, and I appreciate specifically this really great conversation. My EdWest is something that, with this new process, we're all going to be adjusting to, and I appreciate the really good feedback we're already getting. So thank you so much for your time and consideration and joining us today. I hope you have a great, beautiful fall Monday.